Mic's on. Hello and welcome to the show. We are Hack The Dino and we are still at the place which is home and we are working from it like where you're watching it from.
This episode, we are looking at weird games from popular devs.
Another possible remake and a new console.
And possibly the strangest game mechanic Hideo Kojima has ever invented on tonight's Critical Path. Yes, hello, welcome everyone to us on your screen with your eyes. We are Hack The Dino, and this is our Critical Path, our nonsense video game news and discussion show. I am Ben Rosenthal. I am joined tonight by the limb collector himself, Mr. McGuinness.
Hello.
The game anthropologist, Mr. Floppy Starrick.
Hello.
And our very own millennial falcon, Braden Dixon.
As always, lovely to be here, folks.
Why are you saluting?
Oh, he's in an army. He's in the Hack The Dino army.
That's right. We're making our plans to rise up and claim something for. Anyway, this is the 95th time we've done this. 95 times. My word, that's a number.
Yeah, I know. Soon,
you
100.
can very soon. 5 more times. Some people who are good with the maths might say. You can see us over on YouTube at Hack The Dino. Other way. YouTube.com/Hack The Dino. Or you can catch us over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Hack The Dino. You can join our Discord over on bit.ly/Hack The Dino, which you can see up the top of the screen there. And if you're listening to the podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud or Spotify, you can't see that. So bit.ly/Hack The Dino. Be sure to join us over there because we talk a lot with typing. We talk with our fingers. We've each got little mouths on the end of our fingers, and instead of it's like what's the as it goes in the shell where that dude is typing.
The ladies, their fingers snap apart to type quicker.
Yeah, that's us. We're ladies. You can
Sorry,
also
ladies and gentlemen.
and join us over on Instagram and on Facebook. Just search for Hack The Dino. Oh my goodness, these intros are just getting longer.
Longer and longer because we're doing more and more stuff.
We are. We got heaps more stuff coming. Floppy and I are doing something tomorrow for the podcast listeners. So that'll be exciting for all them, I assume.
Ooh.
But let's get cracking with what we've been playing.
What we've been playing.
Wow, what have we been playing? What have you been playing?
I don't know.
Oh.
Dan, solve the mystery.
Well, I haven't been playing much at all. This is my first week off. I'm going to have a week off of doing this. I've just been playing old stuff. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, or as I call it, FF7R, and BOTW, The Breath of the Wild. I've been playing those games because I'm just in lockdown. As I'm saying this right now, I just realized that I played Prototype 2, and I probably could have done a review on that. Oh, damn it.
Oh, quickly, what do you think of it?
Prototype 2?
Yeah.
It's good. I don't think it's as good as the first one. That's it. That's my review.
That's
It has more
review.
gore and
Top notch.
it has better powers, but the story and the people aren't as good.
Cool. That's it.
That's it. That's all I've got today. What about you? Who's next? Who was
I'm
next on the
next.
list? You're
I'm
Ben.
next. I'm
Ben.
next. The man with the things.
The man with the head.
Yeah, that big bold thing. We have been playing Animal Crossing still here over at Casa de Rosenthal. That's Spanish for House of Rosenthal.
Oh.
That's your lesson. So I'm not going to go much into that because there's news which we'll talk about it. But man, I love that game. That's so far game of the year for me, which I never thought I'd say.
Which one?
Loving it.
So my
Absolutely
headset
loving
went off for a second. Then I didn't hear what you were talking about.
Assassin's Creed. No, the other AC. Animal Crossing.
Oh.
Animal
But not as
Creed.
good AC.
Man, I would play the hell out of a Animal Creed game.
Is it just Animal Crossing styled Assassin's Creed?
Hell yes.
Oh,
Animal
perfect.
Creed.
Yeah, let's get that happening. Do you know who'd be a really good character in that? Attorney Hawk, skateboarder at law.
Ezio. He can just roll around on the beds all day.
But I have also been playing another game which has been sitting on my Switch for a good long time, and that's Blaster Master 02. So this is the sequel to Blaster Master Zero, which was the remake of the original Blaster Master, which came out on the NES back in the late 80s, early 90s. I love the original one. I love the remake. This isn't a remake of the sequel to Blaster Master. They've gone in a completely different direction. So if you think of it like a tree coming from Blaster Master, it went to the original Blaster Master 2. They haven't done that. They've gone Blaster Master Zero, which is the remake of Blaster Master, and then Blaster Master Zero 2, which is the sequel to Blaster Master Zero.
So they've done a sequel to a remake
Yes.
when there was an original sequel.
Yes, but haven't remade that.
They're ignoring that and just doing a sequel to the remake.
Correct.
Did you say it was a remake as a prequel and they've done a sequel to it?
No, I didn't say prequel at all. What the hell are you
I'm
going
so confused, man.
So it's a sequel to a prequel of a
Remake of the first one?
Of a requel?
Anyway, it's a really cool game. It has the same look of the remake that came out a couple of years back. In fact, it was a Switch launch title. But it's just tighter in every way. They've taken how the characters move and the enemies move and made it a lot more cohesive, if that makes sense. Just a lot tighter, a lot more fun to play. Not as, I don't want to say laggy, but almost laggy. Like it was a bit sluggish before, I felt, the original Blaster Master remake, whereas this one's just tightened that all up. It's extremely fun, just like the original, but it is also challenging. This time, story-wise, you're traveling through space as opposed to the caverns of Earth with the help of your teleport frog that you saved from the first game and a new companion, Sophia, who I think's part cyborg or something. It's exclusive to the Switch, just like the original one, and you can get it for $15 Australian. And anyone who enjoyed the first game or even the original NES version should definitely 100% pick this up because, my goodness, it is fantastic. I'll now field any questions. Floppy.
I had my question. I was confused. Damn you.
You're still trying to catch up on whether or not it's a sequel or a prequel.
Yeah, I'm still not really. Yeah. No, hey, looks really cool, man.
It's an awesome side scroller, which switches to like an isometric top-down view as well.
But has Michael Bay made the film of it? Is that?
Not yet, but it's right up his alley. You know, it's got like a frog that you rescue.
It's got a car.
Got explosions.
You say up his alley, do you mean he could take something really cool and kind of ruin it visually?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Brayden, what have you been playing?
Beautiful. Well, I put this in our little rundown sheet, not realizing what date it actually released. So this morning, when it released for us, I started playing XCOM Chimera Squad.
Yes.
Now this one is this is a interesting one. So what they've done is this is kind of like a little experimental spin-off. I would say it's not like XCOM 3.
I have so many questions about this. So
okay.
Oh,
good.
now you got questions. Jeez.
Well, this is right up Dan's alley, so he's very excited about this one. So yeah, I've loved the modern XCOM games that they've been doing since I think the first one came back in 2012, and then this got like randomly revealed, and I was like, "Yep, cool, psyched!" Instantly, like, got it on Steam and was just waiting for it to come around. And then I launched it up, started getting into it. It has like a comic-y like art style to it when it's in between like cutscenes and stuff. So I was enjoying that. Rather than having characters that you're like creating and like naming yourself and getting attached to, and then when they die off and they're called your friend's name, like you're like, oh dang, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh man, that's the bit I love the most about it.
Okay, well, so instead of that, what they've got is they've got like an actual continuous story with like an entire like gang, this crew. So let me get up the little description here because this like nails it down. So it's set I think 5 years after the XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, which was the DLC for that. And what it's done is you're in the city and you're basically like a breach squad. So there are like groups of people who are like aliens and humans are trying to get along. And there's like basically a terrorist group that's going around like trying to cause uproar and ruckus. And it's your squad's job to go and breach and deal with those. It's changing up its general format in the turn-based strategy game. So rather than its usual, you're in control of your team, you do all of your decisions for them, and then it's the enemy's turn. and they do all of their single decisions. Rather than that, it's taken a bit of a step from something like Dungeons and Dragons or a tabletop role-playing game where it has an initiative order. So when it jumps back up on the screen, in the top right corner, you'll actually see a list down of all of the characters that are in that encounter. And this bit here, you're actually selecting who you're choosing to breach and actually bust in. So it's still got that like classic XCOM gameplay to it, but they're just exploring with some different stuff,
Yeah,
and
cool.
I'm all for it.
So is it a bit smaller in its scope? Because I always found I got overwhelmed by how I really loved all the fighting in it, but then when it was like base building and all that stuff, I used to get a bit like about that stuff.
Yeah, so rather than that in this one, like XCOM 1 and 2, it's the end of the world. It is your like awesome like flight crew with all of its like little building bits that you do in there, your base building stuff. And you have to save the world. That's the massive scope of those. This one is literally you're just a team and you've got one little base that you don't really upgrade or anything, and it's all combat. So it's just you going on these encounters.
Oh, it's like XCOM Diet.
Yeah, so basically, like and Diet as well in the sense of the price. Like this is dropped for dramatically less than any like massive title. I think I saw on some reviews that it averages around like 20 hours ish, rather than like a massive XCOM 2 or XCOM 1 campaign that could be way longer than that.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I personally haven't played XCOM games, except for XCOM the Bureau, but that's a very different sort of thing.
Very different style of game, yes.
I have played Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
If you've played that, you'll understand this.
Yeah, so but having not played any other XCOM battles, is this one that you could get into, or should you have previous knowledge of the other ones?
I would say that weirdly, this is actually a really good jumping off point into like getting some people into this style of genre and this style of game, because like not only is the price point appealing, not being nearly as much as the rest. However, the rest have been on sale as well. I also picked up XCOM 1 so that I can go back and play that again.
I like 1 better than 2.
I also agree. And it's like $8 on Steam right now, so I picked it up. I'm also downloading that as well. But yeah, like this breaks it down into bite-sized chunks, and the only main difference between what it's done is it's now the turn order's different. So you see the timeline on the top of the screen there, how it's got your different characters, and then also the aliens turns in between. So it's like in D&D how you'd roll initiative and each character has their own spot rather than your turn, enemy turn.
Could you change that order by doing things like choosing certain things, and it moves people up the rank and stuff to like get more turns and haste and stuff like that?
I believe you can upgrade them so that way they can get better. I'm not that far into it yet. I'm still only like an hour or two in. So I kind of got my foot wet and I'm ready to jump in for the rest. And knowing it's not too big of a campaign, I'm actually really interested to see what they do with it.
Because on the 29th, like Gears Tactics launches, and I'm really into that, which is this in the Gears of War universe.
Yes, exactly right. Is that on Games Pass?
Yep.
Is that one going to drop on there? Perfect. Okay, cool. I'm going to play that as well then. But yeah, I highly recommend it for anyone who, like Floppy said, like if they haven't played these style of games before, like for not a high, like a budget game or anything, like this is a great jumping in point. And then if you enjoy it, you can pick up XCOM 1 or XCOM 2 with all their DLC and stuff for real cheap. So
as long as you don't have to deal with satellites, I'm in.
Yeah, XCOM 2 did introduce satellites, which is funny.
Do you know about how long you'd get out of the game?
I've seen some reviews. One reviewer said it took about 22 hours, another one saying around 19, so and they felt like they went through it pretty quick. So you're still getting quite a bit of game for only like, I think this initial week that it's released, it's like $15.
$15.
Yeah, honestly, guys, jump on it.
I'm okay with that. I paid $100 for a game that took me 7 hours. So.
What game was that?
RE3.
Really? You paid $100 for that?
Well, let me rephrase that. It's $100 game that took me 7 hours.
Still, that's $100.
$100.
That's insane. I thought it was like the $60, but $100.
$100.
Anyway, what else have you been playing, Floppy?
All right, I've been playing a little game. Not one that I'd usually pick, but I decided to try something different. I've been playing Jumanji, the video game. So this is based on the films with, obviously, as you can see on the screen,
Those character models are ridiculously bad.
Can I tell you something though?
Looks like Fortnite.
One of my favorite things about this are the characters.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a cheesy. I don't want to say the word cheap, but it's a basic sort of game. But I think
it's a movie tie-in game.
It's a movie tie-in game, right?
Yeah, get it done quick and get it out.
I have a soft spot for movie tie-in games. I really do. So it's based obviously on the film with The Rock and Jack Black and Karen Gilliam and Kevin Hart, I think was the other guy. The voice acting in this is actually pretty good. They don't have any of those big actors that have come back, but they've got Rhys Darby, who plays I guess you'd call him the main NPC in the films.
He's the guy in Flight of the Conchords, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a New Zealand guy. Pops up in lots of little things, and he's always does a really good job. So he plays your narrator and sort of intros you to the game and walks you through tutorials and stuff like that. The Rock's voice is rubbish. Whoever did him.
You know what they should have done? They should have just got old wrestling audio grabs.
Oh, it would have fit perfectly.
Yeah.
It would have fit perfectly. The guy that does Jack Black, though, and Karen Gilliam and Kevin Hart whoever does those people do really good jobs. So the 4 different characters have 4 different traits, obviously. Sort of The Rock's character, I can't remember his name, Dr. Smolder Bravestone.
Rock.
It's just The Rock, man.
Just The Rock. He's your tank. He's your tank. He's your big
really?
guy.
Jeez, they went out on a limb there, didn't they?
Sure did. You've got Jack Black's character, who's a healer, and Karen Gilliam and Kevin Hart, who are sort of all-rounders. Karen Gilliam's real good. She's very quick, good fighter, stuff like that.
Do you know what I love about her is how she wrote Phonograph and other classic comic books.
Yeah, right.
That's a joke that only about 2% of the audience will get.
I had no idea if I was supposed to get that, and I thought I'd screwed something
up.
No,
I thought I'd make such a small...
Karen Gillan. You're doing the joke about.
Yeah.
So the game can be played solo, and then your other characters covered by AI, or you can have it as a split screen 4-player, which is pretty cool. There is no story though.
Just like the movie.
It's a weird one. So I mean, the general premise is you've got to get the gem of Jumanji and get it back to its resting place to save Jumanji. But there's no actual progressive story. You have 4 different levels that you can play over and over again on different difficulties. That's
just 4.
Oh, really? Just 4?
Yeah. And you can just pick 4 different levels. This is your first level that you sort of pick through. It's like a market bazaar. But in that level, there is then multiple sort of little sub-levels, all which follow an exact pattern. You have the one that you were running through the bazaar and taking out enemies and finding these little idols that are up on hidden places to get collectibles. And you have to find 4 Jumanji pieces to be able to open the door at the end of it, which then gets you to this sort of area where it's as a cover-based shooter. While you're trying to power up an obelisk, I don't think you can see it in that scene, but there's an obelisk that you have to stay there for a specific period of time and just take on waves of enemies. It is a cover-based shooter. So you duck, you can melee, you can run out, pick up grenades, pick up weapons, take out explosive barrels, that sort of thing. And then you would move on to the next area. In between each area is like a save room where anyone that's died will be sort of rebirthed and dropped from the heavens. And then you go through that until you get to the end of that level, get the gem back. Then you can pick up to 4 different other ones. I think there was a jungle one. I'm not going to be honest, I didn't play them all. It was
Didn't you say that you were talking to me about it, that like whoever has to hold the gem gets powered up or something?
Yeah, so that's
a cool idea.
That is a cool little idea that they have, is that whoever holds the gem, their weapons are powered up and they're stronger, their punches are stronger, they can take a little bit more damage. But to stop just one person having that, you can only hold on to the gem for a certain amount of time before the game starts striking back at you, and then you have to switch it to one of the other players. So that's really cool, and I like that. That's like a boss guy they're trying to take out there. So I like that. So you'd use your sort of directional pad to switch it between AI players if you're playing on your own, or to throw it to one of the other guys. And you might, if you guys are getting slammed, you might throw it to your healer, and then your healer's healing ability sort of amps up, stuff like that. These are a little linear puzzle style Tomb Raider sort of thing where they have spikes that pop up.
How will he solve that?
Well, yeah, you could. So you can literally just run through this and then collect the medical thing at the end, and you'll be fine.
You know, I've got to say, this review has gone on longer than I would play this game.
There is,
So
there is one thing that I will say positive about it though. Although it was not my cup of tea, I did not like it. It amused me a little bit. What I will say is, any parents that are looking to get a game for their kids who want to play
Nice.
Call of Duty,
By Animal Crossing.
no,
Don't
they
play
want
Animal
to
Crossing.
play Call of Duty.
their kids want to play Call of Duty, but they don't want to buy them an MA15 shooter. This is a really good intro to cover-based shooters like Gears of War, but that's safe for kids. I would say it is really good point between like what you would generally call a kids game and a more mature game for the kids that want to buy shooters, but their parents don't want them to have the MA15 titles. This is a really good sort of spot for that. It's a really good intro to it anyway.
News.
Oh, we have to go to news now, don't we?
Hey, Braden, how is it to be not on the controls and just know that that's coming up? I'm going to be
I'm used to it, and I feel helpless over here. Like, my hands can do nothing. These are just meat fingers. They're nothing.
And I keep forgetting that I'm in control. I'm waiting for Braden to switch everything up, and I'm just like, no.
That's my job.
Oh, speaking of switching things up, the PlayStation 5 has got news for us to talk about.
Yes.
A Bloomberg article has come out suggesting that due to the pricing and not the ongoing global situation, Sony will have fewer consoles available at launch of the PS5 when compared to the PS4. So they're making less consoles for the opening window and the launch of the PS5s. And while most people thought it was because of what we're going through at the moment, nope, it's because the parts inside cost too much and it's getting harder to find those parts. So there's two ways you can take this. One, you can go, that's not good news for Sony. Whereas I seem to take it as, while it does seem troublesome, it's better now to not have as many consoles out there and sort of fix some of those first console bugs and then bring it out when people have money. Because let's face it, during this time, during this quarantine, not a lot of people have disposable income. And considering this console is going to be around $450 to $550 US, so we're looking at about $850 Australian, it's probably smart, I think. Additionally onto that, the PS5 is scheduled to go into production in June or July, so we can expect a console reveal next month, I think, because as soon as they start getting produced, you're going to get images leaked. So what do we think about that, gentlemen?
Can I add something onto this? So
yeah,
thinking, you're saying that it's going to create like a bit of a shortage, you'd say.
Well, not a shortage. They're making less consoles than they did for the PS4.
So what I mean is, like, it won't be as easy to go out and make sure that everyone gets one. So this has happened a number of times with other consoles.
Like every single Nintendo console?
Yeah, and what happens? What happens with it? It creates this massive demand, and everyone has to have one.
Yep, correct.
Is this a smart move? Whereas they've now they're creating that need, that want.
Creating your own industry, your own hype.
Because we all want the thing we can't have.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nintendo's done it with the NES Mini, the SNES Mini, the Amiibos. You remember the Amiibo craze? They did it with the Switch. They undermake it because then they can come out and say, "Oh, we've sold out of our first shipment."
So I'm not saying that they're doing that for that reason, but I think this might be this might become a result of it. It's going to create a craze for it.
Yeah, no, I think it's excellent
marketing. A happy accident.
Is it accident though?
No, it's not an accident at all. It's just like you got these guys there. They're sitting there going, "All right, so this is what's happening. You know, the world's like this. We've got this many consoles and stuff like that. That this is all strategy kind of thing, and it should be. And if I was them, I would just like up the price, like
up it from like $850.
They did that with the PS3.
Make it $1,000, and then all the people that want to get it will buy it, and like who cares? It's a couple $100 more.
The famous Sony get a second job.
Yes. I like Dan's comment of, "Oh, who cares? It's a couple of $100 more."
Sorry, Mr. Moneybags.
Yeah. So, well, I can't wait to get back to Dan's house when all this is over, so we can go swimming in his Scrooge McDuck money bin again.
I hurt my nose diving into it. It was like, it's not right, the cartoon, hey? Not at all.
Yeah, you need to curve your back more.
But we
I do
should
miss sitting on his golden couch.
my golden couch, and cruising around in my solid gold car. I'm a simple man. So yeah, they got. So this is like we know this is a fact that they're not going to have.
Well,
as
it's
many?
from Bloomberg. So Bloomberg's a pretty reputable paper. For them to report on it, you would assume that yeah, they've got a lot of facts and a lot of inside knowledge. And yes, it is a fact that they're going into production June, July. So we will get I'm assuming towards end of May, we will get a console reveal.
Could this be a thing where they're like, yeah, like, so if you've got your Xbox on their tail bringing up their stuff as well, like, is this a desperate move, you reckon, for them? Just to, like, bring out...
No one knows.
Or is it going to be one of those things like bloody Final Fantasy, where we're going to get them and then we're not allowed to play them anyway? like we'll get them all, you'll pre-order them, we'll get them before America, and then you'll get it home, and it'll have to just be, like, region locked until America gets it. Until, look,
no one knows. Sony's just flubbed this whole announcement of their launch. I don't know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. Maybe that's part of their strategy. I doubt it very much. I think they were troubled beforehand, and I've read rumors, and I want to stress that these are rumors, that Sony had problems getting the hardware to operate correctly. Like the actual physical mechanics of the PlayStation 5. Rumors, absolute rumors. So absolutely no substantial.
The thing I'm most worried about is like all these parts are made in China. Like they're all made in China.
But
like,
China's opened back up again.
Like
they're almost 100% open.
Oh, really?
Close to, yeah. They
better production than us at the moment.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so it's. I don't know. It's wait and see, which I find ridiculous. Okay, if you were holding off for E3, that's fine. But E3 is out the same time as when you were going to put your console in production anyway, and you weren't going to be at E3. Man,
I had all these really good points to this section that I was thinking about today, and I'll bring them up, and I've just completely forgot them all. I should have written them in the bloody chat. I should have written them in the chat. Braden?
I was going to say, I've got 2 quick points. One, shout out to the people who do random, like, fake console videos so that we can use them as footage.
Yeah.
I love them. They're great.
Do you want to see it again?
The fake designs they come up with are excellent. That one was so thin. It was like, it was like a paperweight. Then second point being, I 100% agree with, like, everything going on with the, like, hopefully this comes out with a meaning that they're in production. Things leak from things all the time, so they should come out and reveal it. And the other thing I was going to say with that was that what was it? It was the hype factor of not having enough and it selling out. Also the hype factor in this weird reveal that they've been doing with not all their information being out there so much. I'm wondering if can they come out strong enough where people will just get so hyped from that new reveal that they'll kind of forget for a moment about the past couple months.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think absolutely. As soon as it's revealed, we were talking about this last week as they revealed the controller, and automatically all the conversation went to Sony and Sony's new controller, and the Series X was completely forgotten about.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a balancing act at the moment. Like it's like, oh, they're going crap, and then suddenly, all you do is put out one bit of information, and they've like gone up a notch, and the other one's going down, and then it goes like it's really
because we're not used to talking to it all the time. We keep talking about all the Xbox stuff because we hear so much that as soon as you get a shred of evidence or just a whiff of a rumor, it becomes super interesting.
Well, not only that, is a lot of people don't research and scour the news. For people like us, maybe people who watch this, who enjoy finding out the news and finding what is coming out. Like we're very much in it and trying to find out as much information as we can, and there's no information to be found on this. Whereas your average person, they're just sitting back and they see on the internet, their friend's Facebook shared video says, oh, the PlayStation 5 looks at this, and they go, oh, sweet, cool. And that's how the conversation starts.
Yeah, I'd like to throw an apology out to Jack if he's watching, because he did get super excited about our thumbnail thinking that was the real PlayStation 5. Sorry, mate.
I'd like to say to Jack, subscribe at youtube.com/Hack The Dino and every other place that you can catch up beautiful places.
You'll see the PS5 the day it comes out.
That's right. Dan's going to do an unboxing.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
You live on air, you can't go back now.
Speaking of unboxings, something that might appear on a box called the Series X is the new logo for the Series X, which you can see on the screen there.
Any more like it should say sex box.
It's still got that like adult shop vibe to it, doesn't it?
So over in our Discord, I had Floppy ask me, "Is this official?" And my reply to him was, "Well, it was on the patent form for the logo that they were registering, so yeah, this is it."
See what I reckon this is. It's not. It's obviously not an Xbox logo, as in like they haven't redone the logo. This is just the Xbox X series, like what they're going to put on the side of the box. I reckon.
Yeah.
And the console, the game's the box. So you'll get your game, and it will say like Xbox, like whatever it is, and then have the little Series X on it. Because because with all this what's it called, the ecosystem of them making like what am I trying to say here? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
No, you're trying.
You can't just
bring up the fact. You're trying to bring up the fact that they're having multiple models that will be at certain different price points and different performance levels.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, so they're gonna have all these like Series X, and what was the last Xbox One called?
Well, they've got rumors of the Lockhart coming out, which is another
Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X.
Yeah, so they're gonna have Series S, Series X, and then whatever that other one, maybe Series L. And so you'll know straight away. This will be the branding to differentiate the products for each of the versions of the consoles. That's what I wanted to say.
Yep. See, I reckon from that suggestion at least, I reckon what you're going to get is the actual packet, the physical packet, the actual disc. It'll say Xbox across the top. And then on the back, you'll flip it over. And there's a nice handy chart and table that tells you which one it runs best on and how it affects this and what frame rate you get on this one and this one and this one, this. And
Too much info.
What do we think of this logo? Like aesthetically, personally, I don't like it. I don't think it fits. I don't think it fits the design of the box. I think it's very militaristic, almost like an ammo case is what brings to my mind. And the Xbox doesn't look like that at all. I just think it's a really bad clash.
It looks like the stencil from the side of a military vehicle. You've nailed it.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring up a image. I just want to have a look at it like side by side, like
with the PS5.
No, with the the PS5 logo. I know in my head. No, with no. I had the thought before. If you put P and O next to it, it would just look like a ad for Sexpo, like as like a conference.
Sexpo. I remember Sexpo. Yeah, it is.
Oh, bless.
I don't like the. I think there's a little bit too much room in between that X part. Like, they should be a bit closer to the other X. It's really jarring to me. Like,
I thought Dan was going to go into a Sexpo story. I'm so glad.
Well, there's the time.
You see, the interesting part is, I actually really like this as a logo. Like, I quite like the disconnected part of it and everything and how it's got a vertical and a diagonal to it. Like, weirdly, I quite like it, which is strange.
Well, the simplicity of it is it's doing exactly what it needs to do. I know it's exactly it only says Series X, like sex box,
and it could work out well if they are doing multiple versions of it. All they have to do is keep the series to the side and then replace whatever is next to it.
Yeah, exactly. I can see with what Dan was saying would be very easy to swap that X out for a like-looking L, S, P, Q, something like that. What do we think compared to the PS5 logo? Who do we think is got the leg up? The Series X logo or the PS5 logo?
Sony, hands down.
I agree. Sony, because they've got a recognizable look, a recognizable logo, and they've carried that through. So people are going to see that logo, and even without looking at the number, know that it's PlayStation. Whereas they'll look at this and go, "What? Am I reloading? What is that?"
See, this is what we're talking about. Like, PlayStation has done the PS5 logo, but Xbox has still got they haven't even revealed the Series X Xbox logo yet. This is just the Series X. This is the tiny bit of their big puzzle game, where PlayStation has just got the PS5. That's all they've got. Where
Xbox
this is saying that there's going to be. This might be saying because this doesn't have Xbox written in it. This is just the Series X. So this might be insinuating that there might be multiple versions of the Series X, but this is the Series X. One.
Yeah,
So there might be other series. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there almost definitely will be. There's been rumors of the Lockhart coming out for a while now, but Xbox have revealed their logo for the Series X. It was on the Game Awards reveal trailer. It's literally the normal Xbox logo that we've seen for years and years and years.
it's the same one.
Same one. That's what they're using.
So they didn't change it.
No.
But so yeah, PS5's amalgamated both their logo and their branding of their console into one logo, where they've split it into two things, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to say, like, to me, the reason you split it is because you're gonna do other things as well.
Correct. Do you know who else is doing other things? Sorry, Floppy. Yeah, you go.
No, you're right. Go.
Segue.
I was going to say. Segue. Nintendo are doing other things because they dropped a whole heap of news during the week without anyone knowing, because it's Nintendo, and they go, hey, guess what? Mario Maker 2 had a free update billed as the last one. A couple of the things that we can see on the screen now is you have Super Mario Brothers 2 Mario, where he stands on the Goombas and picks them up and throws them.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
You can now make a world map linking all of the courses that you've made together into a world and a game.
I'll try and find
that. Was cool. That was really cool.
All the Kooplings are now available. So Morton, Iggy, blah, 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 whoever.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Whole heap of new power-ups. Some have never appeared in a Mario game before. So I think there's ones where the Mecha Koopas shoot lasers at you. And there's one where the bullets come chasing after you or something. I don't know.
So this is it. Like, as I said, this is the last thing. And I remember us saying, what do we want in the next update? And we were like, world map and stuff like that. And they've just done it now. Oh, what's that? Oh,
that's in Mario 2. In Mario 2, where you grab the key and that face comes down, and as long as you're holding that key, it chases you. But the cheat for that is you pick it up, and as soon as it comes, you throw it, and it goes away, and then you just pick up the key again. That's a little cheat for all you Super Mario Brothers 2 people.
Do you think they shot themselves in the foot that now they just don't ever? Oh, they don't have to make it Mario Brick games ever again. This is it. Like, why make a Mario game now, like 2D style like this?
Because it's very hard to make a good 2D Mario game. I don't know how much Mario Maker you've played, but man, there is some trash on there. I don't know how A Game does it. Actually, I do. He's got a whole team of moderators that choose the levels for him. But yeah, it's cool. I've played it. It's a lot of fun. It's everything you need. Only disappointing thing is they have billed it as the last update, so that's it. We're not getting any more. This is it for Mario Maker.
It might not be. Like, you know, how many bands, like, you retire and then they have a reunion gig? They might have a reunion gig.
Look at bloody John Farnham, mate. He hasn't shut up yet.
I'd rather not. He is melting.
The Rolling Stones, mate. This is the Rolling Stones of Nintendo. They're going to bring it back. It'll be fine.
Braden, do you know who the Rolling Stones are?
I do, actually. I have a Rolling Stones t-shirt. I've got some vinyl records. Thank you very much.
Have you listened to them yet, or you're a
Did you know fan? that photo of the front of their album with, you know, the jeans with the big doodle is me?
Oh man, Dan! Oh man, I gotta get you to sign that, man. I got that one over here.
Oh, he'll sign it all right, Braden, with his own little genetic code
with my own,
down the sleeve.
With my own pen.
So going back to Mario Maker, the world map thing I thought was really, really cool, and it was the closest I've got to actually wanting to play this game.
Wow, high praise.
Have you not played this?
Floppy almost wanted to play it.
No, I don't play IKEA games, mate.
Oh, that's good.
You buy it and then you got to build it.
That's half the fun.
What about you don't like Dreams?
Not particularly, no, because I appreciate Dreams for what it is. I appreciate them all for what they are, and I think they're amazing. It's just not something that I'm prepared to invest in.
That's right. He'd rather play The Rock running around like a potato man.
Man, I can tell you, really the time that I invested that is embarrassingly small.
This trailer's still going.
Just like Dan. Hey, Brendan, you want to say something?
I just wanted to ask you, Ben, with this being billed as the final update for it, what are you expecting from them next?
The Super Mario All-Stars pack where they redo all their 3D ones. Then I'm hoping for a Legend of Zelda Maker where you make dungeons.
Ooh,
and then they'll do a 3D Maker.
Because they dabbled in that in... What was that one that I played?
It's Mario Maker. Mario Maker. They had a Link costume, and you could traverse as Link through Mario Maker.
But what was that latest Zelda they put out? What was it called? Like I bought it. The one with the look down. Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening. They had a dungeon builder in that.
Well, that's what that game was originally going to be, but they realized that there wasn't enough there to be a full $60 game, so they went, we'll remake the Game Boy game.
It was good though.
Brad.
Yeah, on that as well, like with getting if they did a Zelda creator and everything, could you then see a Metroid?
No, because they're having enough problems bringing out the next Metroid Prime game. I don't think doing a remix will be high on their priority. Metroid seems to be one of those franchises that they're just forgetting about. Like it was Metroid's 30th anniversary a couple of years back, and they didn't do anything.
It's weird because I love that first game, and then the SNES one was really good. Super Metroid. I haven't played any of the first person ones, but I assume like they could get even like another Metroidvania version of it. Like,
well, they did bring out a remake of the Game Boy game 2 or so years ago.
Okay, I just want
and that was a good game.
Do a new big one, like make a big deal of it.
They're trying. They're trying. They had to cancel it and start again.
Metroid Maker
it sucks so bad.
Metroid Maker works pretty well as well.
Do you know what else works pretty well? Animal Crossing. It works really well with my hands when I play it all the time, especially when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So they announced new DLC for Animal Crossing, which incidentally, first month, 5 million digital downloads.
Hell yes.
The second most downloaded game in the history of ever. Or the fastest to download or something like that. But came out at the right time. So you get new visitors, a sloth who sells you garden stuff, and a pirate fox who steals valuable artwork to sell to you.
Ooh.
We get new events, Earth Day, May Day, and Wedding Day.
What does that
mean? And a museum expansion for all the stolen art that you're going to purchase off the fox. So I'm looking forward into dabbling into a life of crime. Apparently, some of the artwork, you get 4 pieces every time he comes and visits your island. And one of them's real and 3 are fake. And they're based off famous works of art. So the Venturian Man, Leonardo's guy holding out arms, is just called Engineering Man. And like how you tell it's a fake, you have to study it. And like it's something as like the Mona Lisa's eyebrows raised like the Rock. Or, that's how you can tell it's fake. And I'm thinking, kind of want my fake ones.
Yeah.
Tell you what, this them doing these updates and dropping and reveals and everything, like they are absolutely nailing this. Like I am so on board for everything they are doing.
I've said last show, was really worried about Nintendo because they hadn't announced anything apart from Animal Crossing. I thought Animal Crossing isn't enough of a game to like push them through the rest of the year. If, some other big hitters get delayed, we could be looking at Game of the Year here.
Yeah.
We could be.
Might just be Game of the Year. The one. The only one they bring out.
Nintendo's game.
Speaking of games, we all like games, especially on Apple Arcade. And one of those Apple Arcade games that Dan and I both raved about was What the Golf. And it is coming to the Switch on May 19.
This game.
Thank God. Because I almost bought this on Steam like just earlier. And then I looked at the run sheet and I was like, oh, I'm going to wait.
Dan, what did you think about this?
I love this game. Oh,
it's so good.
The fact that it's on Switch.
Well, it's coming to Switch.
It'll work well on Switch. I find this game, I found it worked the best on my phone. Like, the phone controls were the best for this game by far. Like, I played it on Apple Arcade. You can see here, like, the stupidity of this game. So you're a chair here at the moment playing golf.
Oh, I played this. Yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, this is a great game. Like, and it goes crazy. Like, it goes into like
the puns are amazing. The puns are fantastic.
There's a super hot level where you play in the super hot universe where the time only moves when the golf ball's moving.
Oh my God, and that's so good.
And it looks like super hot, and when you get a whole it goes super hot or super good or something. It says like the budget version.
Do we know how much this is going to be when it comes out in May?
No, but I can't imagine it being any more than $10 or so.
I think I'll buy
less than that. This is a mobile game. Like,
yeah, it's not like, to get on another thing, they just right click, save as, delete the .apple and put .switch, and then just upload it. That's how easy it is.
I bought Golf Story the other day, so this would go nicely.
Love that one so much. Oh my God. Yeah, I will be buying this instantly.
It's a great game. I've played it many, many times.
It will be the only game my Switch gets a break from Animal Crossing with.
Speaking of great games, who here likes Resident Evil?
Oh, this guy does. This guy's a bit of a fan.
Who?
This
Me?
guy, the Transformer,
This guy,
Oh.
Wheeljack
Wheeljack. Yeah, I've heard that about him.
and
Uh,
Floppy.
They are having rumors that Resident Evil 4 remake is on its way, according to VGC, which is
Woo!
regularly reliable, which is regularly reliable about such things. A number of sources have told the outlet that a Resident Evil 4 remake is in production with an estimated release plan for some point in 2022. Is reportedly in production at developer M2 specifically, which has been preparing for the remake since 2018. And M2, you might remember from such remakes as Resident Evil 3.
Can we talk about this one a bit? Because I reckon this is a good one.
Yeah, so I just want to ask, firstly, is it a good idea, or should they be remaking, Code Veronica or Resident Evil 0 or even Resident Evil 1 again before they come out with 4? And does 4 really need to be remade?
Yes, and yes. I think, I also want to see remakes of Code Veronica and Zero as well. But I think because most of the people that are playing these games now are people that have started with playing the remakes, so remake of 2, remake of 3. I think it just makes sense to do this one next, chronologically, I guess, because it's a character that they already know, but in a different setting. So it's sort of not doing the exact same Umbrella Corps sort of stuff that they were doing in 2 and 3. So it gives you enough of it. It's different, but you get a character that you're familiar with, and jazz it up a bit. Because although it's really cool and it still plays really nice, it could use the jazz up. It still got that weird you can't aim when you're running and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So Code Veronica was a good game. I played it on the Dreamcast. I loved it, but I feel like you're right, Floppy. Where people who are just getting into the franchise don't need a sudden number drop and this weird one put in their face where it just says Code Veronica, and I was like, is this the 4th one? Like, what's going on? Because there's a lot of people out there that haven't played any of them. But this game, like, if this gets a Resident Evil 2 makeover, Resident Evil 3 makeover, is it the makeover, whatever it's called, remake over? This game will, I think it'll, go really well with it. Its controls still are, I streamed this just recently, recently, last year, Res 4. It still has problems. Apart from being one of the best games of all time, in my opinion, it still has its problems, and there is still a lot of wiggle room to massively make this game better. If you know what I mean, they've already got an awesome game that everyone loves, and all they have to do really is just tweak the controls and give it chronic graphics. And look at these settings, man. They could give it the best, put shit everywhere in the trees, have the trees look wicked, and the whole thing in this of them not being zombies. They're village people that talk and they yell out these languages at you. I don't know what language it is. I assume.
Hey, it's that dog.
Yeah.
Well, a bird dropped a hand grenade just before.
I love stuff like that in games. Yeah, there's lots of grenades in birds in this. But so you're fighting this finally different the zombies. So, and also if they did Code Veronica, you're just going to be fighting zombies again. Where in this one you've got this new element to these people that you're fighting that have gone crazy. And then obviously later on some shit goes down where there's some gross shit happening.
Tentacles.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a ragey virus type thing.
Yeah, it's just like a mutated version of T-virus.
T-virus.
Yeah.
Now, was this originally on the Wii first? Was this a Wii exclusive?
No, this was PlayStation 2.
But it came out. Right. I think it was better played on the Wii because it was really
the motion
suited
controls.
To the motion controls. Yeah.
Yeah, the motion controls were unbelievably good on this. You could just
probably
change.
The best use of the motion controls.
Excuse me. Have you played Link's Crossbow Adventure?
No.
Because it wasn't that. That game was trash.
Interestingly, with this, as someone who's not a Resident Evil person at all, I was initially going to ask a question before about Code Veronica, but I'm going to ignore that because you guys have sold me on why this should be the next one, in the sense of it not just being zombies, it actually being a town. That makes it a lot more interesting, in my opinion, as someone who doesn't play them, and for people who might be new to the franchise. But in the sense of how you've knowing nothing about the series, you guys have made me completely agree with your points.
Well, don't get me wrong, Code Veronica needs to be remade, but not yet. So that's Code Veronica set in, I think it was Antarctica or Alaska or something like that, and it goes deep into the lore of how shit went down, and we got Resident Evil 2 and 3.
I agree with you, Floppy. Like Resident Evil, you just want to shoot things. Like you don't need that big lore-filled deep dive. Just shoot guys in the face, and that's
Like
that'll
that.
do.
And
Wait,
the other thing as well, people are coming off the footsteps of Resident Evil 7, where they weren't just zombies either. They were these like, a family of stuffed up people. So people have got that. And if they're going back, they're going to be seeing that, oh, I get it now. Like, so it started as zombies and it merges into this, like, it makes Resident Evil 7 make a bit more sense in the timeline.
Well, I mean, rumors are Resident Evil 8 is coming out after this as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. It's following the classic thread.
I feel if they start making 5 and 6, they're going to have to, like, redo them from the ground up.
Oh,
Because
totally.
they
Because
were
those
like,
games sucked.
They're rubbish.
They were
Well,
bad.
they're not rubbish games. They were just they deviated so far from what Resident Evil was.
Yeah,
Like, they were good games, but they didn't need to be Resident Evil games.
They were just action games as opposed to survival action.
But the coolest thing about the Resident Evil series is that every single game that's come out, no matter whether it was a prequel, a remake, or whatever, that every single game ties into that same storyline really, really well. Even if it's you just played Resident Evil 2 and then you played Resident Evil 7, you're like, this is a completely different game with nothing to do with each other. But if you've played them all, they have this amazing storyline that continues and follows through all of them. It's really cool.
They all have gems just sitting around on roofs. I keep my gems.
See, that's...
I think Brayden has been wanting to say something quickly.
No, I was going to say quickly, like, so in that sense, I'm agreeing with the fact that, okay, cool, do 4 first and then bring out 8 and then 4 or whatever order they want to do it. Is Code Veronica like a full-size game like them, or would you see it more as like I don't know what size it is originally.
It's 2
like,
discs on the Dreamcast.
Is it like a smaller experience?
No, I believe it was a full-size game. It was on the PS2.
Okay.
I think it started out as, if I remember correctly, it started out as what was going to be number 3. And then I don't know what happened, but it ended up being its own game.
Yeah, it has its good moments as well. It's good. It's good that it exists, but it's unnecessary. In the whole storyline, like you could skip it and you wouldn't even notice there being a gap in the story at all.
Speaking of unnecessary, do you know what's not unnecessary? Do you know what's in fact very necessary?
No.
Ornaments for Christmas trees, and Hallmark has got you covered this year with these ornaments. Firstly, we got this one from Minecraft, which you can have hanging from your tree.
That's so
cherry.
complex. What? That's so detailed.
It's great, isn't it?
How big is it?
We've got an 8-bit Mario, which you can have hanging there.
Rubbish.
You can Luigi one as well. Whoa. Well, maybe you'll like
the
this.
Minecraft one. This one looks boring as hell. The Minecraft one looked crazy.
This is probably a little bit more up Floppy's alley. Pick number 3 there. We got the Fortnite Battle Bus.
That's dumb. Get rid of it.
Can I make this smaller? I can't, can I?
No. In all honesty, though, these last two are my favorite.
Yeah, same
you've got
Bus.
Joust, an arcade machine.
Yeah, that's
great.
that's
See,
sick.
that's cool.
Look at
classy.
those little buttons and controller. Wait, I'm gonna. Oh,
Hang on. Did you always ride emus in Joust?
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look how real that looks. It's
I
like
don't
they've
remember
got a whole bunch of random toys and just stuck a ring on top of them.
You know what's really funny is I've just finished watching with my younger kids the Honey I Shrunk the Kids things, and it's like they just shrunk them all down.
And the last one's
And finally, the best one out of the collection. Here it is.
Oh, that's awesome. It's got a cartridge in it. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
That's
I'll be
awesome.
buying like 2 of these.
oh, are these gonna? But they're
100
Hallmark.
of them?
Yeah,
just-
200 of them. Just laying in them. Just putting them in Dan's money bin and going swimming through it.
Just have that as your only Christmas ornament everywhere.
That's what the bus.
I've
is.
got other cool ornaments. But yeah, Hallmark do these every year. They're really, really cool. You know what else is really cool?
No.
New consoles.
Oh, sick.
You know what's even better than new consoles? New consoles with sexy skins. Dan, roll the footage.
I can't.
We all seen
I
this?
have to play it small. This is the hottest looking console I've ever seen in my life.
I want one so much.
It is an Xbox One X Cyberpunk 2077 console.
Does anyone else kind of think it looks like Claptrap?
Yeah.
It does a little bit.
Do you know
yeah,
what?
It
And
definitely does.
it doesn't match the controller whatsoever.
Great though.
Like,
No.
Look at that. I'm just going to make that bigger because it's a still
Do you know what's
shot.
even better? Go on. We can't play it now, but if you're near an internet, go on there and look up the music for this trailer because it is hilarious. I laugh so
music
hard
for
at the
it?
music.
I haven't heard the music. I watched it on my phone.
Well, I think you should, after the show, Braden, go look at the music and then write us a 4-page report on why the music is hilarious.
I just wish the Xbox Series X looked like that. They just go like that.
We need more wacky consoles. Floppy.
So Dan, to go back to why it doesn't match. So the console there is themed after the game itself, the cyberpunk writing and all that, whereas the controller is specifically themed on Silverhand, which is like Keanu Reeves' character.
Silverhand?
I think it's like Silver Arm or something like that.
Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny Silverhand, yeah.
Rocket
That is
Boy.
the best name ever.
Because you can buy the controller
really?
separately.
His cyber ghost. Yeah, so you've got the left side of it being his silver arm, and then on the back it's also got the samurai band logo.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere in the... Wait, I'll bring it up.
And it also comes with his hand, which you can do whatever you like with.
It's breathtaking.
There it is.
There we go. Oh my god, I want one so bad. I do not have the money for this.
The
Well,
controller will be
you've got
available separately as well.
You've got some time to save up because it comes out in June with a code for the game, but you won't be able to play that game until September 17 when it
looks
launches.
like, it kind of looks like a VHS player.
Yeah,
Which is
it,
what
it looks very pretty.
Like that bit of white down the thing there looks like you can put a VHS tape into it.
See, I think it looks like a part of Boba Fett's armor.
Ooh, now you're talking.
I want more things to start to move towards the like grungy cyberpunk visuals because we're getting there.
We're there now. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's like drive around in cars that doors only open up and only wear trench coats.
Do you know what else is really, really cool and wears trench coats?
Me.
My segues are awful. Streets of Rage 4 has been announced to launch April 30 for $25 US on PS4, Switch, and Game Pass, which means Dan and Braden, you get to play this baby for free.
Oh, really?
And Floppy.
Yeah, I got Game Pass.
Well, I guess someone better save up and buy a decent computer then.
We
Get it
could,
on Xbox,
we
mate.
could do a group video stream of this.
Oh, that'd be rad.
This
this
looks
game was cool.
beautiful.
So good. What have I got written here? They've created it for fans of the original with retro skins and music. Yeah, so the retro skins and retro music are going to be in it as well. So much like Street Fighter Champion Edition that came out a couple of years back for the Switch, where you could play any pixel version of any of the fighters against each other. They've done that here as well.
Yeah,
so you can
Was
have
that the anniversary one that you had like 16 different ones on there?
Yeah, had all the Street Fighter 2 games and
So,
the first
so
one.
is this just Streets of Rage 4 or is it like different versions of Streets of Rage
It's
4?
like-
It's just 4.
It's,
Okay.
but it's not. It's there was no 4, was there?
No, it's a new game.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a
Streets
new
of Rage
game.
4 is a new
It
game.
only went up to 3. It doesn't have the, I assume we'll be able to unlock the kangaroo and stuff like that. But I was obsessed with Streets of Rage. Look at that guy with his hands in his pockets. And have you
Like
seen?
Orange Cassidy.
Have you seen like when like they go to pixels and the characters just look so out of place? It's amazing. Like when they go to the
And then the music comes in as well. So like they have the original 16-bit audio tracks going in there as well.
yeah, it's great.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game.
Let's hope it's got a bit of depth to it though, because these games are pretty. Like the originals were pretty boring, but they're
Yeah.
amazing. If you know what I mean. If you go back and play them,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh, look at the girl with the guitar. She's a new character. Axel looks like he's put a bit of weight on as well. Like,
Bit of beef. Big
Yeah.
beefy boy. Do you know what else is beefy? Gamescom. It's usually the beefiest con there is because it's held in Germany. Anyway, it's been cancelled. And they're going to hold a digital event. So this is something we've been discussing for a while in regards to E3. I'm very interested to see what Gamescom do in the way of holding a digital event and what that means. And is it going to have virtual tours of the show floor? Or are we going to have talks and whatnot that are live and interactive? Or, what does a digital event entail? And, I don't want to bring it back to E3, but do they need to pay attention?
I think this is going to be great because it's going to be able to put across just the information they want to do and it'll be digital so they can control it, put it across the best way that they feel that they need to. And I think it'll be easy to access. I don't see a bad reason or a bad thing coming out of it.
yeah, I think that I'll get rid of this girl. Oh my god.
Hashtag cancel down. He doesn't like women.
off. I'm gonna.
Oh my
I'll
God.
play one of my audio cues. I think if they're gonna do a digital event, what I would like to see, as a person who is a streamer and likes watching streams and stuff like that, I want a digital event, but it has to go for like 10 hours. Like, I want an event where they just go through every single booth and they have a camera and then they set it up, and each presenter and booth gets to do a little presentation of what they want to do, and you just sit there for 10 hours and it just runs through the whole thing.
That sounds awful.
I would love that. I would just sit there watching it. I would just sit there.
So there'd be a couple people like Dan sitting there watching the
There'd be
entire 10-hour thing,
thousands.
and then there'd be everyone else checking IGN and Polygon afterwards for the recap.
That's how they look.
Yeah.
With their twisties and their
Sorry, they're not sponsors.
adult diapers.
Where are
So
these
you don't miss
stereotypes
out.
coming from? I might be weighing in a bottle right now, but there's no reason to point a stick at me.
Well, Dan, there's no need to piss yourself because it's time for deals.
Wait up! I thought we were still talking about this. I still got more
No,
to say.
I'm bored now. I want to talk about deals. Okay, Floppy, what do you got for us this week?
It's the longest intro. I always forget that it actually ends. All right, on PlayStation, we got some really good stuff. Actually, we're on PlayStation. PlayStation are giving away Journey and the Uncharted collection.
And before Dan, you need to stream Journey this week.
I've already played Journey.
Have you streamed it though?
No, but I'm one of those people who just doesn't like it that much. I appreciate that it's beautiful and it's a great game, but to me, it's just not my thing. That's fair enough.
So
Like, I
if you
don't
haven't
have to
played-
like it. It's just a walkie.
But if you haven't played Journey and you're like you like experiences, if you ever played Flow or Flower or anything like that, then you probably played Journey. Get it anyway. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. And one day you're going to sit down, you're going to have an hour or two spare, and you're just going to smash through this thing. And it is going to be different whether you play it again or not. It'll be something you've never done before. It'll be amazing.
And then you'll get really excited and you'll play Abzu and you go, wow, this is just like Journey, but underwater. And then go, oh, don't worry about it.
This is not as good.
and also the Uncharted collection.
I don't think I got a video for that. No, I didn't.
The Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. It'll be the Nathan Drake collection. Brilliant games, great writing. Number 2 is the best.
And if you're a PlayStation Plus holder, didn't Uncharted 4 come out last month or something?
Exactly right.
So you could have nearly the whole collection.
Wow.
Honestly, everyone should go back and play that, because what I'm doing right now, at least, is I'm working through the Uncharted collection. I'm up to 2 again now, thank God. And I'm then going to play Last of Us for the first time, and then go do Uncharted 4, and in the build up to Last of Us Part 2 eventually.
So it doesn't have.
Are you going to do Lost Legacy for Uncharted?
Yes, definitely throwing that in there as well.
Is that in there? Is that in the collection?
No,
collection's just 1, 2, and 3. So
Yeah,
it's the PS3 ones remastered. You should also play the Golden Abyss on Vita. But anyway, also on PlayStation, we have Red Dead Redemption 2, the Ultimate Edition, which is normally $150, down to $47.95, which is stupid cheap, because this doesn't have just the base game and the multiplayer. It has all the story content for the base game, all the DLC that's all came out, and it has a whole bunch of stuff like skins and weapons and stuff for your online as well. It is ridiculous how much content is in this thing.
I just want to spoiler alert for the next console we're talking about, but it was announced today Red Dead 2 is coming to Games Pass. Do you reckon PlayStation caught wind of this and decided to slash that in order to get some money before a bunch of people get it for free on another system?
I have noticed.
I'd say absolutely.
I have noticed the consoles doing that kind of thing, that as soon as like it goes up onto like PlayStation Plus, you see it on the Wii for like half the price and stuff like that. The Wii? The Switch.
I love Red Dead 2 on the Wii. That was great with the motion control.
Yeah,
man.
I love how
Motion
you
controls of the bar fight was excellent. Just you got the nunchuck and you got to waggle it around,
and they just completely skipped the Wii U. It doesn't even exist.
Just like everyone else did, mate.
Anyway, what else you got?
With the price slashes, you see the same with Steam and the Epic Games launcher and everything. Like they all try to compete when something else is free on something else.
So the last thing we've got on Sony's platform is the Division 2. If you haven't played the Division 2, but you like some sort of open world, you like some multiplayer fun with your friends, this thing is unreal. It looks beautiful. I've been playing with Dan and Braden on and off over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, hang on. I might be able to join in at some point because
You've
I've got
actually
good
got
internet
internet
now.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yes. We can
Oh my
finally,
god! Finally.
we can finally open a clan because you have to have 4 people, and we haven't been able to do it. We can finally.
All right,
get
we'll
it.
look into that.
Came out.
We'll talk
when did
after
this
the
game-
show.
Was this 2018?
Division
So-
2? No, it came out last year. end of last year.
2019. So 2019 this came out, full price game, $100. You can get it on PlayStation now for $15.
That's sick.
That's
It
cool.
is so cheap, and it is such a beautiful looking game. Jump on it, and it's also themed to somewhat current events.
It is about a pandemic.
Because what I look for in my video games is to escape the harsh reality by going into the same harsh reality.
Yeah, but this time you get guns.
Yeah, well, if I lived in America, I'd have guns anyway.
Yeah.
Now,
but-
what's on the old Xbox?
So on the old Xbox, coming to Games Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you don't have to pay anything extra. It just all appears on magically on your console. It is now. This could be. I don't know how to pronounce it. It could be Gato Roboto, or it could be Gato Roboto.
Gato Roboto.
Thank you. So this is a nice little action adventure platformer. Includes mechs.
It reminds me of it reminds me of Kirby and Dreamland for the old Game Boy. It's like that platformer type.
Dan, it's like your little miniature that you've got of the cat in the tank thing.
Oh, I
You're
can
going
use
through
audio
like a
cue.
little
Oh,
alien world, and you're trying to save your captain from a crashed spaceship. It looks cool. I like it.
It does
I
look
like the
cute,
look of
doesn't
it
it?
anyway.
It looks
Next
like
up we have
Oh, yep.
Hyperdot, which
Hyperdot?
came out on April 30th. Another action arcade game. Yeah, this one looks a lot. I can't remember what it reminded me of now.
It doesn't look like anything.
No, there was
You-
another one.
you just have to dodge.
You have to dodge and evade the things.
Yeah.
You get like 100 levels or something like that.
you just
it's
have
one
to
of those
stay
ones that you
alive.
turn on, and then you can't, and you realize it's 3 hours is gone.
So for
Is
the
what it is.
podcast listeners, it's you're you're a yellow circle avoiding the red squares, which was the
You can say you're
payout.
a hyper
Which was
dot.
which was the payout game I remember in Grand Theft Auto when they were. Do you remember in the radio station when they're like, "You can be the adventure cube, like avoiding the dots." Like it's that game, but real.
But this also has a level editor, so you could create your own and share them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. After that, Level Head.
Hey, how much was
Coming
it?
out in-
I know these are free.
These are free.
It's Games Pass, man. So yeah. Another action adventure simulator with Level Head, where you build like contraptions.
Kind of.
He's
Kind of.
adorable.
You're a little
I'm not
robot.
really sure how
So,
to. So I
A
haven't
robot
played this one.
platformer. Yeah.
It's like Wall-E if Wall-E actually had obstacles that he had to
Personality.
get past instead of
That
just
would
And I
be
walking
think you'll
around.
find looks more like Eva, not Wally, Dan.
I think it was just
actually.
Eve, but yeah.
Yes.
And as mentioned before, also Red Dead 2 coming to Games Pass. But as Game Pass does, when we get something new, we lose something old, and so GTA 5 goes away. Which
Now,
is that sort of
Does that
harsh
mean
reality of Games Pass?
does that
Mm.
mean that if you've got it installed, it's gone? Or
Yeah,
if you've
it's
got
gone.
it
You can't
installed,
play it.
are you sure?
Yeah, it's like Netflix.
Unless you purchase the game, I think your save carries across, but you'd have to go out and buy the game.
I
Yeah.
suppose that's not bad. That's just like an ultimate,
It's Netflix.
Yeah.
But like you still have the option that you can buy it off of Games Pass. Like you can pay for the game and then get it, which is
Yeah.
nice. If you really want to keep playing it, you can buy it.
It's a try before you buy, essentially.
Yeah. Anyhow, what's
Jumping over to Switch, we got Dragon Ball Fighter Z going out for $22.45.
I'm tempted to buy this again. I've got it on the PS4, but to have it portable on the Switch, I reckon this is just such a good traveling game.
So a couple of things they've done for the Switch version is they've simplified the controls.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how hard they were before. I'm not a big fighting guy, but I like that they've simplified them for the controls. You know, you've got smaller Joy-Cons. It must be a little bit easier. And they've also added a 6-player offline mode because obviously you can link your switches together.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's really
pretty
cool,
awesome.
actually.
And it does look beautiful. I've had a lot of people that are in the fighting game industry fans really like this Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Yeah, I mean, it was great on the PlayStation, but yeah, for $22, I might drop it on the Switch and just as a thing to jump in for 15 minutes and have a couple of rounds before I need
Yeah.
to go do reality.
It's a
Yeah,
great
Wait.
it's a great beer and chicken wings game with your mates around. If you're
You don't
allowed-
eat
if
chicken
you
wings when you're playing games. You get greasy controllers.
yeah, it's the whole point of it.
Yeah, man, that's the handicap.
Yuck. Also on the Switch, we're getting Broforce for a wicked price of like $5.60. So this is like a 4-player run and gun. Actually, the catchphrase or catch line for the game is "brace your loins," which is awesome. Which is awesome, and you get destructible everything.
Yeah.
And all the like, how's Rambo there? So you got a whole team of the Broforce that you can utilize to go through and different levels and destroy everything and just create carnage.
Now, is this a roguelike?
That part I'm not 100% sure of.
I don't know. I might be confusing it with another game, but I think it was a
it's just,
roguelike.
action adventure platformer.
I think
okay,
it is
cool.
procedurally generated, if I remember.
Yeah. Anyway.
After that, De Blob.
Yeah. Now I've got some info, some news about this game. I can't remember his last name. Simon Scales, who is the owner of CDW, which is the character design workshop we have here in Adelaide. It's a world-class animation studio that teaches people, and they get world-class artists and whatnot. They had some of the guys that designed Nathan Drake come down one year. They get a lot of artists from the game industry. Anyway, he actually was one of the designers on this game. So yeah, Simon from Adelaide. He works up at the top of the Maya Centre there. It's my partner's boss, and he worked on this bad boy.
That is
Very
If
nice.
you haven't played De Blob, you get to play this cool little guy who is rescuing, I think it's called Chroma City, if I remember correctly. Chroma City, whose color has been stolen and has been turned into this drab gray, lifeless looking city. You get to run around and you replace the color everywhere while defeating bad guys. You have to collect the little colors so that you can go around and return things. It is one of those things that's not too difficult. You don't have to think too much. It's fun and it's nice.
Looks
I
like
remember seeing this when I was a kid, and like I really wanted it, but I never ended up actually getting it. Like, should I actually pick it up on the Switch just to try it out?
Yeah, it's $9.
And number two is cool too. It's just more of the same thing in a different city.
It looks like a trial run for Splatoon.
It very much was, because it originally came out on the Wii, so it was all motion controllers. But yeah, it basically was a trial run for Splatoon, or where they stole the idea for Splatoon.
Yeah.
It's very pretty, and like the animation is great. I think I really enjoyed it.
Now, we don't have
And
any
it's
video
like-
for this.
It's only like $9.
This last video, because I only saw it just before we came on. I was going through the eShop. Do you want to talk us through this next absolute bargain, Floppy?
I will. So anyone that was around PCs in like the early 90s may remember Flashback.
It was also on the Super Nintendo.
Yes, but it was first on PC. That's where I played it. And it also came to the Nintendo. Sorry, Ben. So Flashback
I'll allow
was a side-scrolling platformer, but I would say almost roguelike, because you visited areas, or Metroidvania things. You visit areas multiple times, but it was very sci-fi 80s, cool electronic music, very cool storytelling, and it used rotoscoping for the motion, like the early Prince of Persia. So the actual animation of the character that you play is phenomenal. It actually feels, Daniel, like this, you feel weighty. Like when he jumps and lands and runs, you actually feel like there's a weight and to everything that you do. It's really, really cool.
Playing this as a kid, that used to freak me out. The fact that it was so realistic. Like, I don't know what it was, maybe the Uncanny Valley or something, but it freaked me out as a kid watching this.
So they've done it in two different ways. So you can play it in original mode, which is quite punishing. Like you don't get tutorials and you die a lot. Or so the modern mode has remastered sound, remastered sort of like sound effects and music. But it also has a rewind feature. So if you say die, you can just hit a button and zip yourself back, sort of back in time a little bit and keep going. Yeah, it is. I can't say no. Everyone should get this. It's like $1.50. It is stupid how cheap this is. It is
just
criminal.
watching the controls, like, and how like it looks like the characters moving and stuff. Like, I am loving that. That looks.
It is
awesome.
amazing. So yeah, rotoscoping was when they would film a person doing the movements and then place the digital sort of character over the film of that happening. So you get that realistic sort of motion that they've got there. It's just, yeah, everyone needs to play this. It only takes you you could probably finish it in like 2 hours.
Oh, that running animation, I love.
Yeah,
That
it's
looks
pretty
so
rad.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
very,
it is.
very Prince of Persia. It's the second. Did you mention it's the second one to Is it the second one to Another World?
Another
Another World
no,
came after this, didn't
Another
it?
World came after this.
No,
Yeah.
that was on the Amiga.
No, Another World was also on the Super Nintendo. It was the sequel to Flashback.
But wasn't it called something different on the Super Nintendo? It was called Out of This World or something.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Another World.
Doesn't matter.
Jump on it. Anyone that's got a Switch, anyone, $1.50, grab it.
$1.50. Why not? Even if you don't play it, it's worth $1.50.
It's so good.
Do you know what else is worth it?
What?
Kojima, he's worth it. He's worth everything. Dan, play the thing. That's not the thing.
Oh, you're right. Press the wrong button.
Maybe we can do it again. But
Kojima. I'm sorry. I apologize for Dan's tomfoolery.
Oh, you just dumped it on me. I was in the internet,
Yeah, man.
like, showing footage of other stuff.
That's what we
to
do.
my life.
That's what we do here. I Hack the Dino. I spout out orders and you follow them because I'm not like Kojima. Hey, so I'm doing something different for Kojima Watch this week because Kojima Productions has gone into quarantine, so they're not doing anything. And thought I would look at a hidden gem game of Hideo Kojima, our Lord and Savior, that I didn't even realize existed. It's called Bokkai, The Sun is in Your Hands, and it came out on the Game Boy Advance. Got a little diatribe here. An often forgotten Kojima game. Bokkai was exclusive to the GBA. It's a stealth game, much like Metal Gear Solid. However, had one mechanic that made it stand out, for better or for worse. Now, can anyone guess what that mechanic may be? It had something to do with the cartridge.
was it
Just take
Was
a wild
it-
guess.
Game Boy
Think about the
Advance?
title. Bokkai, The Sun is in Your Hands.
Was it to do with light?
Yeah, it was something to do with light. Yep. Anyone else? Give up?
Did it have a solar panel and you had to charge your Game Boy with it?
Yes.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes, really.
What? Oh my god, that's insane.
Here we go. The game's cartridge has a photometric light sensor which measures light exposure. In order to charge the in-game solar weapons, the player must first take their Game Boy Advance outside in the daytime, as verified by the light sensor. If the player's gun runs out of light reserves and there is no sunlight available, then the player must avoid conflicts with enemies.
So
That's
if you lived in
amazing.
Melbourne, this game was shit.
So it had a little sensor on the cartridge that absorbs sunlight.
That was amazing.
What's more, the solar gun that appeared in this game also appears in Metal Gear Solid 4.
I've got that. I got footage of that.
Damn, nice.
What?
Wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait.
Oh my god.
There it is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
it goes through the little poem that you, is being read out to you here is basically the basic plot of the game.
Amazing.
So I looked up how much one of these carts are and how
I
much.
was about to Google that. What was it?
So it wasn't released in European. It was released in Italy, I think, and which is European, but forget what I said. And Japan. So the cart you can get from anywhere from $28 to $120. Boxed complete, you're looking at about $300.
Yeah, nah.
So I'm going to have a hard time getting that for my Kojima collection, I think. I'll be
Have
happy
fun
with
with that.
just the cart. Do you know what else would be a fun time with just the cart? Patreons.
Ooh.
Worst segues
That doesn't make any
ever.
sense, but yeah, cool.
That was not a good one.
So this is the part where I take over. So I'm here to thank the Patrons. We have a Patreon, if you didn't know that. If you'd like to support us over there with a bit more moolah, so we can buy these
So
microphones.
sleazy.
Yeah, come on, mate. Okay, do you want to buy whatever I've got in here? It's under here. What is it? It's a pit.
What you buying, stranger?
Oh, that's a Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite. So
Hey, it's that dog.
apart from us loving you a lot, we also thank each show our top tier patrons, our Patreon. What are they? Producer level Patreons. So thank you to Sam Beer, thank you to Ashraf, thank you to Henry. To Todd Randall, to Tommaso, to Mike Towns, to Karen Knight, to Ash Knight, and to Dylan Stevens. Oh, Mike Towns just came into the chat. Better late than never, just like the Titanic and Ghostbusters 2.
No, you summoned him by saying his name.
Yeah. Thank you very
three
much.
times into a mirror, see what happens.
Thank you very much to you guys. At the moment, our Patreons, we have we paused that at the moment, Ben, during the time?
Yeah, the Patreon's pause. We just decided that the current situation, we didn't feel right accepting money from people. So we've paused the Patreon just until this whole thing blows over. And then in our exclusive Patreon group, we'll let everyone know when we're going to start that up again and whether they continue or can afford to keep throwing bucks our way. If you want to help keep the mics on, we really appreciate it. If not, not a problem. You can join the Discord anyway, which is bit.ly/hackthedino. If you're a Patreon, you get a nice little gold heading for your name, and everyone else is black. They're plebs, so you can laugh at them with your mighty gold name.
Mighty gold name. All right, wait up, and then
Thanks.
What a beard.
You get a
I'm not allowed to grow my beard that long again.
You get a big old thanks from Ben and my wife.
We've amalgamated.
Ugh.
I'm now Dan's co-wife.
No, I'm moving on to the topic.
Pokemon?
Not even on that.
I wanted to get in before you. Okay, so topic of the show, Tots decided that this week we're going to look at obscure titles from big game devs. So before they brought out their huge, massive hits and became household names, companies had to start somewhere. They can't all come out of the gate with a #1 hit like Team Cherry. So we've compiled a list of, I think we got 2 each?
Just 2 each.
Games that aren't necessarily known from big time developers. And Dan, do you want to take us to the top, baby?
I'm going to take you to the top, which is the first one, and work our way down. Whatever that means.
Right.
So I chose Sonic Chronicles. Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. So this is done by a little company you may know called BioWare. Have you guys?
What have they done?
They've done stuff like Dragon Age, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, Anthem, and stuff like that. So, and they did. I forgot what year this is from. They did a DS game of a Sonic game, and they made it into an RPG. And like your Mass Effects and stuff like that, it has a dialogue choice, a dialogue tree. So there's all like. I'm just going to try and find. I'll never be able to find that now.
This is so bizarre.
Oh, we got cutscenes.
What?
Brayden's freaking out.
I'm so confused. Like, what?
So these are the. I've got it set up. You can see these are both the screens. So because it was the DS. So this is. So the good things about it is it had there was a lot of use of the what's the stick called, the stylus in this game. But you had an overworld where you walk around as Sonic. You're fighting a bunch of dudes called the Marauders. I don't know what they are. Anyhow, you have to team up with Eggman to fight these Marauders because, that would happen. And when you fight, it goes into I'm just trying to find... It has, a Final Fantasy X RPG turn-based combat system where you use the stylus, to do hit your do your moves and stuff like that. So yeah, BioWare made this a friggin' Sega Sonic game on the DS. It blew my mind as well. It wasn't the best game. Just throwing it out there. It's just one of those things when you start looking into these things and you find out. But it wasn't the worst Sonic game. Do you know what I mean? Like it's probably up the higher end of the Sonic games, and it was long. That's all I've got.
Would you say it's better or worse than Sonic Forces?
It's better than Sonic Forces. Like it had a good use of the stylus. It had the overworld, walking around. You had items. It had your choices of your dialogue. It had, you know what I mean? Like it's basically the Mass Effect of Sonic.
So I just went and looked at their Wikipedia for when this was released for them. This is the game that they brought out between Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
What?
well, see,
Well,
this is-
Dragon Age Origins wasn't very popular, so they needed some money to finish Mass Effect.
yeah, so they got him in there. So here we got the dialogue choices, and like one of them, the question mark one, is like Sonic, like dickhead Sonic. Like you actually have like you can just be just a full blown prick to everyone, like in the Sonic
So
way.
Sonic's true form.
True form. I
Arsehole
actually watched the
sausage.
Sonic movie the other day, and I was actually quite amused with it. The bit where
It
Eggman,
was-
the bit where Eggman dances in his lab is the best scene in the entire film. It's amazing. Anyhow, here we got a cutscene. I'm gonna get out. That is my pick, my first pick. Number 1, Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, whatever that means. Oh, you're fighting aliens that are like like the Marauders. You're fighting, so yeah, that's why Eggman joins up with you because they're more of a threat than everyone, and you know that old chestnut. There you go. Who's next? What do we got? We got Ben.
Me. And I'm going to be talking about a little game called Penguin Adventure. Now, what creative genius do you think would be responsible for such an amazing game with a penguin flying through space trying to catch space fish in a 3D, not 3D. Yeah, it's 3D.
It's not 3D at all.
Definitely not 3D in the slightest.
But if you're flying through space and you're catching fish, and then you land on the ground and you're running through pine trees, just jumping. Anyway, what creator do you think would be responsible for
Well, you
that?
are just walking around doing nothing.
It would have to be someone that was destined for greatness, surely.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hideo Kojima's first game.
Jesus.
So this is the sequel to Arctic Adventures. The story follows Penta, a penguin who has to bring home a golden apple in order to cure Penguet, the penguin princess.
Is that just it's just pokies on screen at the moment?
Kojima worked as an assistant designer on this game. This sequel is known as being better than the first game because it added RPG elements such as boss fights, mini games, and purchasable items. One of these items was a gun.
Ooh,
So you could buy a gun.
It's the Empire Strikes Back of a penguin genre.
That's right. But it had 2 endings, one where the princess dies and one where she lives. And that's something Kojima reused in his idea for Metal Gear Solid. And another interesting fact, King Kaiju actually picked up a cart of this game for me on his last trip to Japan.
Ooh,
so
have you got it there?
I was hoping to go see him before this show, but didn't because, there's a killer virus out. So as soon as I've got that, I'll be doing a reveal of the Kojima things that we...
Ben, how excited are you and hopeful that that Kojima Productions are secretly working on a massive AAA version of this?
Well, I think they already have. Have you heard of a little game called
Penguin Stranding?
Floppy, you're up. Yeah.
Are you waiting for a segue then, or?
I was hoping someone would cut me off and save me. Anyway, Floppy.
All right. Well, how about I go to my game? My first game. My first of
right on
2.
time. Cheers.
I won't leave you hanging at all. So I've picked a game that I had played an arcade version of many a time in a fish and chip shop. But I am talking about the Nintendo Entertainment System port of 1942.
Ooh.
Now, this was done by a little company you may have heard of. We may have even talked about some of their games tonight. A company that's responsible for Street Fighter, Resident Evil, I think Mega Man even.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yep.
We're talking about Capcom.
Cool. The
Capcom
big
have
boys.
done 1942 NES port. I think this was their 3rd game
Mm-hmm.
as a developer or as a publisher, something like that. Came out in 1985 in December. They
What?
started.
Liars? Said it's 1941 it came out.
Yes, on the Nintendo Entertainment System of 1941.
Sorry, Dan's laugh was just too much there.
Like he actually found that really funny. So this was their first venture, one of their first ventures into the home entertainment system because they'd obviously been doing arcade stuff up until then. It was the first Capcom game that spawned a sequel, of which the names have gone right out of my head right now.
I think it's 1942.
But there was a tagline after that. But anyway,
The second one.
Obviously, as you can see, it's a top-down, vertically scrolling shooter where you flew a P-38J Lightning, which is a little white plane that looks like it has sort of 2 planes stuck together. You'd fly along, you'd shoot all the bad guys. There would be ground and air enemies. You'd pick up power-ups to improve your weapons and carry on. Never
that a
getting to
real
the end, as I
plane?
never did. Pretty sure it was unfinishable.
Is that a real
Too bad.
plane?
It's
The
Pixel
P38.
Stan.
Yep.
No, I mean like that name of that plane. Is that an actual
Yeah,
plane?
it's a P-38 Lightning.
Ooh, nice.
I like World War II planes. Sorry.
I was gonna say, how'd you know that?
All right,
I'm a nerd.
Braden, what do you know?
All right. So when I saw this topic, I was like, I want to go and look back at some developers that I really like now and see if any of them came out with some weird stuff back in the day. So this game here, Kinetica, this one came out on the PS2. Are you ready for this? So this is basically like, it's a racing game.
Ugh.
You got wheels on your hands and your feet. And it's kind of like if Tron had a baby with roller skating. I don't know.
It's Centurions.
Yeah, but this is in the engine of and brought to you by the great company that did the God of War series. This is by Sony Santa Monica.
Nice. Look at that.
This is the engine that God of War 1 and 2 were released in.
This is the remake we need right now. We need Kratos to get his wheels on.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the VR game in Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. What's he doing?
He's
So
doing
stunts.
style tricks and everything. He's getting his boost up.
Yeah, for the
Getting his-
podcast listeners, it's like this vomitous F-Zero, but you're just a man, and you've just got a wheel attached to your bum.
So
That's
look how
his ankles.
He's got his hands out in front of him. He's laying on his belly. He's got his hands out in front of him, and then he's got his feet out behind him. He's just laying down, but on his hands and his feet, he's got neon wheels.
And
How is he moving?
no,
Like,
wait,
what's the
no.
propulsion?
Spinning.
But
Neon.
but also,
That's not how physics works, though.
But
No,
also,
hey!
ignore,
I've played Infamous Second Son. You got neon power.
but ignore that. Like he also whatever surface he lands on, he just sticks to, and so every part of the map is the track. So it's just a matter of look, like whatever you
I really
do,
want to play this.
it looks sickening.
It does actually look like a little bit of fun, just from how ridiculous it is. But
I'd
yeah,
give it a crack.
Sony Santa Monica brought out the hit franchise God of War, and are now one of the biggest exclusive developers for Sony that they have.
Alrighty, yo. Moving on. Who's next? Me.
You, Dan, top that one.
All right. So I'm just going to start with my footage of my one. So it's a table tennis game. It's a table tennis game. Brought to you by the company. I'm trying to find. I've lost my my notes. Brought to you by the same company that may have done Red Dead Redemption, GTA 5, Midnight Club, Max Payne 3, and LA Noire. This is Rockstar Presents Table Tennis.
You sure
I
this
gotta
wasn't an
say-
April Fool's Day joke?
No, I have this game.
It looks like a bloody good table tennis
It's-
game. I gotta say.
It's heaps good. It's done by Rockstar San Diego, so they're all the ones that do all the rad shit. What makes this game, I got it because I was like, hey, bugger it, it's Rockstar. You know, I was into Manhunt and everything, and so I wanted to, get into this. It's so well done, and it's such a competitive game. So as you
Put
hit
your face on, Dan.
as you hit the ball, you move the right stick, and that puts spin on it. So you can do these massive spin shots, and it gets faster and faster as you go, and you can move your character back, to stand away from the court, and it's all about the drama. You can do jump shots, you can do rallies, and as your rallies get longer and faster, the lights go down around you, and it starts to do heart pounding music. And it gets so ridiculous, and it's so funny. You know those games that just hilarious when you play with people, when you got two people that are super good at it, and the spin you can put on the moves and stuff. It was just hilarious, and it was like Rockstar got bet where they're like, dudes, oh, you think you're good at all your sweet games? I bet you couldn't make a table tennis game, and they're like, you know, mate, we'll make you a table tennis game, and we'll make the best bloody one in the world. And it was great. And yeah, Rockstar. And the San Diego one. So they're like the dudes who make the gnarly stuff. So yeah, that was my next pick. I mean, it doesn't It's not. It doesn't really go into the thing as in they were already famous when they brought this one out. But then again, so was my other pick as well. That was in
Yeah,
the
but I mean,
2020.
it's more like the topic of this show, or this TOTS, is games that they made that you may not be well aware that they had any involvement in.
I was trying to find a
gotta
bit where
say-
like it goes through a big long run, and you can do like the slow mo shots and stuff like that. It's just a great game. Anyhow, next.
Can I just say, I was actually so enthralled in watching that match. I have no idea what you actually said during that. I
You
got
didn't watch
really
it?
excited when I thought he was about to win, and I actually busted out, "Oh my god!" while you were talking.
Yeah, see, I'm the same, but it's just come from like years of listening to Dan dribble on about stuff. So I just
That was me.
Anyway.
All right,
All
I
right,
guess I'll
let's-
go next.
No, I'll go next.
You can do that.
Thank you, Floppy. I want to talk about two little games because this one was hard for me to decide which one I go for, because one of them, the particular individual was just sort of like an artist. Well, not just an artist. Sorry, Dan. He had art capabilities, but then he developed his first game. So it's Shigeru Miyamoto, who you might know from being the father of Mario. The first game that he officially worked on was Sheriff, which was also known as Bandito over here. It's a 1979 arcade game by Nintendo. The player controls a country sheriff tasked with defense of a town against bandits to rescue the captured women. Because, that had to be in there.
The captured women.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know which one's the women there. The green thing, maybe? I don't know. So what made this arcade machine interesting is you had two separate controls, a joystick for movement and a dial control for aiming and firing. So it was pretty much non-existent at the time when this came out. So yeah, as I said, he worked as an artist on this one, but the first game he helped develop, or he was a developer for, was a game called Radar Scope, which is a fixed shooter arcade game. Now, what's really, really interesting about Radar Scope is that this game was a tremendous failure, even though it's actually a really cool game. Because it was so poorly received, what Nintendo did was sent out Donkey Kong panels or stickers and whatnot, and the game. And what they encouraged people to do was to put the Donkey Kong game in and change all the panels from from red to blue. So a lot, even to this day, if you come across an original Donkey Kong machine, you can pretty much scrape off one of the side panels and it's a Radar Scope machine, and those machines are worth money because 9 times out of 10, the original Radar Scope board is still in the arcade machine.
Ooh, that's a tip.
Yeah. So if you ever come across a Donkey Kong arcade machine and feel like, oh, maybe I should rip the side off.
Pull it apart.
Yeah, just deface it. Just just really.
It'd
risk
have
it
a
for the
serial number
biscuit.
that you can look up online to see if it is one of the ones with Radar Scope in it. But yeah, those machines are worth money.
It's a gas. Sorry.
That's what I was going for. All right, Floppy, now it's your turn.
Okay, now I'm going to go. I'm going to talk about one that I haven't actually played, but I'd really like to. So it's by BioWare, once again. Dan, I'm BioWare. We're looking back in 1996. They created a game that fit into that, one of my favorite genres that was around in the mid to late 90s, which was mech-based combat. I used to play a lot of Mech Warrior and stuff like that, and Armored Core. And they released Shattered Steel. Look at that. It is so cool. So it is very obviously Mech Warrior, and if you've ever played any of that sort of stuff. So in this one, you fight land and air-based mechs and aircraft and things like that. Single-player campaign has 5 different worlds that you travel to and 20 different missions on each of those worlds. So it's pretty big. Like that's, especially for that sort of time, that's a very built out sort of thing. Usually all those games, you usually go to one world. You might have 5-10 missions. So a lot of stuff to do, which is really cool. Very cool thing about it is you can have locational damage. So you can target areas of different mechs and enemies and take out those specific areas and deform some, but not all of the terrain. And this is really cool. This is the sort of thing that I really get into. Really love these sorts of things and I really get sucked into them.
Do you like World of Tanks?
You know what? You'd think I should, but I don't.
But do you like its lesser known sequel, World of Fish Tanks?
Oh, you have no idea the depth you can go to in that game.
Oh!
It is, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's it. That's it. Like
That's it. Like I said, I haven't played this one, but doing a little bit of research on it, I really want to because it's a genre that I enjoy. I really liked Mech Warrior. I liked Steel Battalion, the Armored Core games. Anything mech based really gets my juices flowing.
I hate mech games. Kid's gonna say it. Like,
Dan, do you like aquarium games where like there's tanks of fish and you have to go in and look after them, make sure the pH levels are okay for some of the?
I do have Seaman.
Brayden, what are you going to talk about?
You know what? Good for you, Dan. Now I want to talk about a hit film tie-in game on the
Somebody
Xbox.
once told me.
That's it. It's Shrek on the original Xbox.
Don't sing, we'll get flagged again.
All right.
What's he doing?
You guys are not ready for this. This is excellent. So, Shrek on the original Xbox. It's set after the events of the
Did you just drop
film.
kick that sheep?
Yes, you did. So it's set after the events of the original Shrek. So Shrek 2 hadn't come out yet. I know you're looking at this and thinking, wow, the visuals are incredible. It looks so realistic. The shading and everything. It just looks incredible. The gameplay is phenomenal. Like the controls must be incredible. This must be developed by someone incredible. And you know what? You'd be right, because this comes to you from the team who did the entire Battlefield series, Mirror's Edge, and the modern Star Wars Battlefronts. This was made by fucking DICE.
Friends of the show, DICE as well.
Honestly, I found this out and I could not believe it. Like it's so out of the blue that DICE made this. It's hilarious. It's so stupid.
We've got a mate that works at DICE, and he said if you ever do anything, send it over that we've done, and we might like share it. We just send him this.
Oh my god! Please, can we send this?
Well, if they're going to send it, we should talk about how good this game is and how they're brilliant people. And hey, our friends there at DICE.
You know what Shrek on the Xbox gets from me? 4 out of 5 sheep.
Oh,
it gets a 49 out of 100 from Metacritic. Don't listen to them. You should listen to us because this game is solid green.
But what does it
Shrek
sound
movies
like?
Suck.
What does it sound like? Can we do?
I've got no idea if it actually had the soundtrack from the original film, but good job.
It did. It sounds like this.
Shout out to our podcast listeners.
Oh, we don't have any of them anymore.
As of about 12 seconds ago.
That's cool. All right. Time for Dan versus the world.
Oh, is it really?
It really is Dan.
Versus the
Are you
world.
ready?
Oh, no. Wait, I need to get my versus glasses on. God, you guys are... Oh, God. Look how much I matched this.
Did you color code this exact screen for you?
For the glasses, yeah. Which are
it's
Twitch
done
glasses,
on
so it's
purpose.
just a Twitch branding.
Okay, so time for Dan versus the world, where Dan, representing Dan, takes on the world, who is represented by Brayden and Floppy. What I've got in my hot little hands is 3 songs from video game history. I'm going to play the first 5 seconds of one of those songs, and taking it in turns, Dan will ask a question, followed by Brayden and Floppy teaming up to ask a question, in order to try and guess which game that music came from. They've got 5 guesses each. After that 5 guess-a-thon, they then have to guess the game. They can choose to guess beforehand, but if they get it wrong, the point goes to the other person. So last time we left, the world was on 11 and Dan was on 10. And last time, you may remember, we managed to sideskip the problem we had with the audio by a brilliant rendition of me singing themes. Now, I'm happy to say, due to popular demand, we're not doing that again. I'm very sorry. And neighbors, please don't call the police again. So here we go. I've got my magic little box, and we're going to play the first song.
Wow, depressing.
Yeah. Okay, Dan, question number 1.
Oh, I can't even see my buttons without my glasses of what I have to press. What genre of game is it?
It is third-person, relaxing, chilled game.
A third-person relaxing game.
Yeah, that's a genre, isn't it? World. Question number 1.
Do you want to take this, or do you want me to take it, Floppy?
Go for it. You can take this, mate.
All right, happy to. Should I just guess it?
Yes.
Get out! You're not allowed to guess it.
Yeah, you can.
Is it Journey?
It's Journey.
Yeah.
Man.
Wait, I have to do the. I've got this somewhere here. I can actually do the score.
Just to, because I'm doing this from my Spotify list, I couldn't find any actual old video game music. So these are all pretty modern. So Braden's got a good chance at getting all these.
So that's why I got it. That's fine.
I think
Okay,
everyone
here we go.
got that as soon as it started.
That's rubbish. I didn't.
Song number 2. I just looked straight at Braden's face then. Oh, Floppy's got it. Oh, so good. Dan, question number 1.
What console is it on?
PlayStation 4.
Ah.
Floppy, do you want to? Floppy, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to?
No,
take
I
this?
don't have it. That
Oh,
just
you don't
ruined-
have it?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I had it, but I don't have it.
Oh,
Not if it's
Aiden.
PlayStation 4, I don't.
all right. I'm gonna guess this one. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah,
Go
go
for
for it.
This would be Short Dan versus the world.
Is this one Spider-Man by Insomniac Games?
It certainly is.
Oh.
You know what I had? I was thinking, that's Spider-Man 2.
No,
That's Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube.
I was the exact same until it got to the It was great.
I thought it was Metal Gear Solid. Guns of the Patriots.
All right, here we go. Song number 3.
3. Hold closer.
Dan, I think you might be in trouble.
What is? I'm trying to think of a question I haven't asked yet. Who made this game?
Corey Barlog.
I love it.
Very other talented people.
I hope you don't mind me also taking this one, Floppy.
I think we both know this one, mate. It's all good.
Perfect. I'm just gonna hold my t-shirt up a little
Hang
bit.
on, I'm
and
just gonna
say-
press this button.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I've already up. I've already up.
Shall we say it together?
I've already up.
If we could time it lag-wise.
All right, here we go. Ready?
I've already up.
3, 2, 1.
God of War.
2018.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I've already put it on the scoreboard already.
So at the end of that Dan versus the world, we have Dan still on 9 and the world on 14.
So this was a good test. So this just proves that the only way I can win is if we play games that is nowhere near Braden's year.
We have to handicap Braden by it being before my birth.
Yeah.
That's something for me to consider for next time. But until then, take us out, Dan,
Where are we going to? Where up?
to end the show. Where we usually go to.
Yeah.
You can't see with those glasses on, can
I
you?
can't.
We've been Hack the Dino. This has been The Critical Path. Episode 95. We've done 95 of these. Thank you for being there and being with us and being our friend. Traveled down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a friend and a confidant. But if you threw a party, I don't know the rest of the words. That was the Golden Girls. You can catch us over on youtube.com/Hack the Dino, where we will be uploading this show. So if you have watched this, you might want to head over there and watch it again and give us a like and a thumbs up and yell at Square Enix for suspending us.
In HD it will be.
It'll be in HD, so it'll be in much better quality. So head on over there, youtube.com/Hack the Dino. You may be watching this over on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Hack the Dino, where we will be streaming pretty much exclusively until our ban runs out in July.
Remember, if you're on Twitch now watching us, please follow us on Twitch. We really, really, really like that. Just hit the follow up there so you get notified when we go live. We would love that.
Speaking of following, you might want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook. You may even be watching this on Facebook. So be sure to like our page there and follow us on Instagram at Hack the Dino. But don't worry, Dan, I'm about to go into podcast only people who don't want to see our faces. That's quite fine. We understand. You can find us on podcast things everywhere. Podcast people can't see Dan trying to deep throat the mic. No, what is it? It's a camera. You can't see him doing that.
We just got a whole different area of Twitch viewers.
Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, all podcast places where you devour your podcast with your ears. Pluggables, gentlemen, what do we got to plug?
I'll jump in quickly. I also do a movie podcast with my friends. It's called MMT. Go and check it out. It's on Spotify and also on YouTube and stuff.
I'm going to be on that next week.
Dan's actually going to be Dan's going to be our guest.
I'm the special guest.
I don't know who the favorites are. That's all right, Floppy. We'll do our own.
I knew Ben would have a problem with it instantly.
It's fine.
That's what happens when you let us know that you listen to the show. We're just like, come on the show. Why not?
Floppy and I will make our own show.
Yeah.
You are making your own show about Super Nintendos.
Yeah, we are. We're going to get into that in a minute. But Floppy.
Oh. All right. You can follow me on the Instagram where I will post pictures of, things I've picked up, things I'm playing, cool stuff.
Like the dishes.
Dishes.
Twiggy finds in the park.
Yeah.
Ooh, Twiggy.
Petrified dog poo.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
Dan.
You can follow me on Instagram. Look up Dan_McGuinness_rules. And you can also find me over on Greenlight Comics, at Greenlight Comics. So and if you want to buy a comic in this isolation time, we have a new online store. Check out greenlightcomics.com and get a graphic novel sent right up. Yeah.
Right up there. And you can find me on Twitter at Ben Rosenthal or over on the Instagram at Mr. Benjamin, where I put up all my other thingies that I like to do. But Floppy and I are also going to be recording a side quest podcast, which is something new for Hack the Dino. It's going to be called Super Nintendo, which is basically Floppy's picked up his very first Super Nintendo. So we're going to talk about the history of the Super Nintendo, what cool games are on there, what are some of the expensive games you may not be able to avoid or afford. Both probably, and what games he should play. And then we're going to follow it up in a couple of months' time, and he's going to review the games that he actually played. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're recording that tomorrow. So be sure to head over to iTunes or Spotify, leave us a review, and subscribe there to catch that.
What happened, Braden, with our Pop Culture Club show?
So that is coming out to Patreons this Monday.
So just like it was coming out 2 weeks ago when we announced it without us agreeing to.
That's what happens when Braden randomly decides to not listen to the Discord and not keep up to date with what we're talking about.
Goes into business for himself.
Everyone's working from home. It's fine.
Anyway, we're out. Follow us at our things, and thank you for using your eyes to look at our visages, and we will visage you later, baby.
If you look at my visage again without my permission.
Bye.